Good day everyone. I'm Robert, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, FDA FSMA Rules on Food Traceability. I would like to introduce our presenter for today, Dr. John Ryan. Dr. John Ryan is the president of RyanSystems.com and holds a PhD in research and statistical methods for more than 25 years. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, John.
Good morning, folks, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about some of the new rules here on traceability. Today we're going to go through some history of traceability, and we're going to go through the rules, the current rules that just were passed. So these are the key things you're going to learn today. Key data elements and critical tracking events. Food moving through a supply chain, it's being tracked through critical tracking events. And visibility means to know the condition of the food anywhere in the supply chain. So a little background. You know the concept of trace forward and trace back. To identify the physical location of the affected food product in the food chain, trace back to tell where it came from. Vicarious liability demands that your company is responsible for your suppliers or your transporters' ability to deliver temperature-controlled, safe, and sanitary food. So we got here's a different model of traceability. We're going to start here at harvest. It's going to go to a ship, so it goes down here to another truck from the distributor, goes to another distributor, gets repalletized at that distributor, goes in another truck into a store, into the chiller in the store, and goes on the shelf, where then it's purchased and taken home. The people receiving the product from you are going to need the data from you. They recommended that the FDA establish a uniform set of record-keeping requirements for all FDA-regulated foods. FDA should require firms that manufacture, process, pack, transport, distribute, hold, or import food to identify and maintain records, critical tracking events, and key data elements. IFT said that FDA should clearly and more consistently articulate and communicate to industry the information it needs to conduct product tracing investigations. They should consider adopting a technology platform, no, not yet, that would allow efficient aggregation and analysis of data submitted in response to requests for regulatory officials. FDA should coordinate traceback investigations, they do, and develop response protocols between state and local health and regulatory agencies using existing commissioning and credentialing processes. Good luck with that one. And it says if you got 10 or more employees, you have to have records on the transporters of both incoming and outgoing shipments of food products, including their contact information, dates, quantities, description of the type of food and its packaging. You should be doing all this today. Description of the type of food released, date you released it. That's going on from you to the next person. Here's another one for you. ISO, International Standards Organization. Basic parts include a food safety management system, requirements for any organization in the food supply chain. 2205, traceability in the feed and food chain, general principles and basic requirements for system design and implementation. You got to be able to verify that the traceability system exists and it's working. It's consistent and equitably applied. 5 major issues. What's the product? Where is it at any particular time? And you should be able to know whether or not the temperature has been maintained or the truck was cleaned before it was packed, and that there should be history records and sources of information. Of course, all of this costs money. Electronic record keeping. That's where you're going. That's where you better be going. I'm going to talk about recall. A firm's removal or correction of a marketed product by the FDA considered to be a violation of the laws. Doing alerts properly, and that your recall system is established appropriately. Okay, along comes the Produce Traceability Initiative. Global Trade Identification Numbers in GS1. Global Systems 1. And printers for the tags cost $2,500. Most farms can't afford that kind of stuff. So the question got to be, how can we do rapid and complete food recall without a competent standardized traceability system? 2020 FDA rules. Okay, so we've got this food safety traceability monster hanging over our heads. The question becomes, how much is it going to cost all you guys out there? $567 million in public health benefits, or option 2, $626 million in public health benefits. Additional traceability record-keeping requirements for persons that manufacture, process, pack, or hold foods. Keep that in mind. Manufacture, process, pack, or hold foods on the traceability list, intended to establish a framework of information needed to maintain a traceability records to accurately and efficiently trace contaminated foods, foreign and domestic. So you're going to pass information, you're going to get information and pass it along to the next entity in the supply chain the companies provide FDA traceability records within 24 hours of request. The necessity of traceability records to be linked from previous CTEs into you and then out from you to the next customer, one of your customers, within 24 hours of request. In any traceability plan, you're going to have procedures you use to maintain the records are you required to keep under this rule. So you're going to develop this plan. So what foods are covered? I said not all foods are covered. Here's what the feds call the food traceability list. If your food's on this, you're required to comply. If your food's not on this list, you're not required to comply. Cheese made from pasteurized milk, cheese made from unpasteurized milk, shell eggs, all eggs, nut butters, all cucumbers, herbs, all kinds of herbs. Leafy greens, you name it, they're all on there. All types of melons, peppers, tomatoes, all varieties of fresh tomatoes, fruits, fresh cut, vegetables other than leafy greens, fin fish, crustaceans, all kinds of crustaceans, ready-to-eat salads. Let's talk about critical tracking events a little bit. Initial packing, usually done on a farm. An event in the food supply chain in which the food is arranged for transport. Shipping does not include the sale or shipment of food directly to the consumer. Location and date of the critical tracking event. Critical tracking event means the event in the supply chain involves growing, receiving, including receipt of the first, transforming, creating, or shipping of the food. Maintain a record and establish and maintain a record for that. The core components of the proposed rules are the requirements to establish and maintain records containing key data elements associated with each critical tracking event. Location identifier means a unique identification code assigns to a physical location. Trace traceability product identifier. The entity, that's you. You assign it to designate a specific type of food product. Traceability product description means a description of the food product typically used commercially. Okay, this is now the verbal definition of what that means, okay? Lots and lot codes. Lot means the food produced during a period of time in a single physical location identified by a specific code. Traceability lot means a lot of food that has been originated, transformed, or created. And that's the code you're going to assign using alphanumeric information that you make up, okay? Under no rules. Make up your own rules. Traceability lot code. You must establish and maintain records containing and linking the traceability lot code of the food to the following information. The location identifier and location and description of the immediate previous source. So you can add other references, for instance, in this case to show an invoice number, a bill of lading number, a description of how you establish and assign traceability lot codes to foods on the traceability list. You originate, transform, or create, if applicable. Microsoft Access is a software program, by the way, that allows you to create databases like this and input the data. Okay, lots and lot codes, procedures. What records must I keep and send when I ship a food on the traceability list? And then any other kind of reference information, bill lading. Key data elements for farm, place where the food was packed. So we got packing, cooling, harvesting, okay, all covered on the farm. Which key data elements are applied to you? Growing, receiving, transformation. I talked about transformation a minute ago. How much of it and how much do we measure? And reference record types, any kind of reference. Shipping, location identifier. Okay, now just a quick run through on created and transformed food. Creating a food means making or producing a food on the food traceability list through the manufacturer processing using only the ingredients that are not on the food traceability list. Now, transformation, changing a food on the food traceability list, its package and or its label by combining ingredients or processing of food. First receiver definition. Now, the first receiver is the person that's going to create lot code. Now you're the first receiver of that, so you create the lot code. Okay, now we're going to move data out for farms. Key data elements. If shipper is a farm, they would also be required to send the following information. And where was it packed? So this basic stuff the farm already has, that information, okay? And then any other reference codes of the food used in transformation, traceability product identifier, product description for the food, quantity and unit of measure, reference records. So these are all kind of the same for different KDEs, right? Key data elements for each critical location. Some exemptions. Retail food establishments are exempt if they have fewer than 10 equivalent employees. Supply chain, food traceability requires persons who manufacture, process, pack, or hold foods on the FTL to maintain and provide their supply chain partners with information. You're going to have to develop a plan. All right, thanks for attending and talk to you again, I hope, in the next webinar.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for attending anyway.
All right. Thank you, John. That
All right.
concludes the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day.